from ABC7 in the Bay Area joins us now. Casey, welcome in. Jason Ross, Chris Watkins here. There's always new information that comes out, and every time it maybe leans one way for Vegas, but then there's holes to poke into it. So where would you say we are at the current moment right now with the A's and their future in Oakland?
Well, first, before I get into that, I was thinking, Jason, and I realized my first ever talk radio hit as an on-air professional was with you back in 2012.
I do remember that. That was awesome. And now look at this. We're doing video, and those of you on our YouTube. Who are your bobbleheads back there, by the way?
I got a Steph Curry. Sorry, Kings fans. I got a George Kittle. I got a Ricky Henderson, and then the one right there is actually me. With
you have your own bobblehead?
Interviewing them all.
He has his own bobblehead. Now you've made it. Casey,
goals.
That's incredible.
That is goals.
Yeah, look what you've done, Jason. This is all your fault.
You created a monster. Casey, I was wondering in that joint statement released yesterday by the A's and Nevada lawmakers, it said that the Vegas ballpark is supposed to be publicly owned, which, as far as if I'm not mistaken, the Wild West site wasn't supposed to be publicly owned. Can you explain the significance of just that piece of the statement yesterday?
Yeah, so we kind of knew that going in. This is why a lot of it, though, doesn't add up to me. If you look at what the A's are dealing with right now in Las Vegas, the ballpark would be publicly owned. They'd be playing on land that is leased to them for free. So they wouldn't own the stadium, they wouldn't own the land, and then the rest of the site there, they just get 9 acres. They wouldn't get to develop the rest of the Tropicana site. So that means they wouldn't even control the ancillary development around it. And that to me is a problem because everything the A's have said this entire time at Howard Terminal or even way back at the Coliseum site was they need land around the ballpark to develop to bring in the revenue streams to help them actually pay for all this. Well, now in Vegas, they're basically getting a tiny 9-acre ballpark. They don't own it and they don't own the land.
So where's the win there? I mean, besides getting in a new location, I mean, are they that anti-Oakland? I mean, where's the win for the A's in that?
I mean, maybe the win is that it's fast, cheaper, easier, less to bite off, less to get done. But to me, that's why I think it's suspicious that you're hearing rumors now that the deal in Las Vegas is site agnostic. Like the deal might pertain to anywhere in Las Vegas. I'm guessing it doesn't mean that Las Vegas people are going to be footing the bill for them to come back here and build at Howard Terminal. So it's site agnostic, which means maybe the Tropicana isn't even the site they're passing legislation for at this point.
In your opinion, I mean, that's just absolutely nuts. In your opinion, what is like the craziest thing that's happened throughout this thing? Is it just the changing of locations or what is it?
I mean, if we're just going to limit this thing to Las Vegas, I think the craziest thing that happened was the announcement of the Wild Wild West site, which led to the blow up in Oakland, which led to them 20 days later choosing another site. And now as they're trying to pass this legislation, ram it through without really any details coming out, I'm hearing that they've toured another site after the Tropicana site, and they could possibly be interested in building somewhere else. Like, we just don't know. So this, to me, is like not how you get a ballpark deal done. Maybe it'll work because Vegas is a get-to-yes place, but this is not really how you draw it up. Usually you want to have some, studies done, maybe some ballpark renderings, maybe a traffic study, maybe a parking study, any type of impact study. But, maybe they'll still get it done despite themselves.
On Oakland side of things, Casey, as we're talking to Casey Pratt from ABC7 in the Bay Area, on Oakland side of things, are they still, I don't know if fighting's the right term, because they've done a lot in their end to try to keep the team here to as much as they can, or are they just hoping or waiting to see if Vegas just falls apart?
I really think that what's happening behind the scenes, and it's not really outward yet or public, but there's really not a whole lot Oakland can do at this point. They just have to sit back and wait and see if they can come up with a solution by 6/5 when this legislative session closes in Las Vegas, because they can't go in there and just mess up this deal in Las Vegas. Right. It's just not going to work like that. So at this point, they're kind of stuck waiting, but I can tell you it's not that they're doing nothing. It's just that they're kind of doing it on the background. At this point in time, though, all they can really do is hope to once again be in communication with the A's if they come back, or pick up the phone, or if the A's end up selling, the city would be ready. They have a deal that's very close to done and complete. They just need somebody that's willing to finish the deal with them.
Right. So if they were to return to the negotiating table with Oakland, what would be the hurdles that would still need to be cleared to get it done in Oakland?
Yeah, so there's one grant coming in June, another grant coming in August. If those two both land, and they're very confident they will, the deal was $88 million apart. I was told that by one source, and then later another source I talked to, I basically just said, what was the total, flat out, without even mentioning the 88, and they also said 88. So I can tell you that's how far apart that deal was. It should be pretty easy to bridge that gap, so to speak, if they end up back at the table, or if another owner ends up at the table. But in Oakland, you're talking 55 acres, 50 acres if they add the turning basin of waterfront property in the Bay Area. Frankly, it's just far more valuable than anything Vegas can offer, and it's a lot better than 9 acres anywhere.
Yeah. Do you have a read on that too from, I guess, John Fisher's side of things, or the brass for the A's? Because, you see the artist renderings. To your point you just made, Casey, you can see what could potentially be something great in that area. And I'm sure there's other drawbacks that I don't know about, but what's their resistance to really make that part work?
Well, let's just say the A's and the city of Oakland did come to terms on a deal. That would mean, we now have to build this $6 billion behemoth, right? And it's one of the biggest developments in the history of the state. Maybe they just didn't have the resources to actually pull it off. Maybe they were trying to get other real estate partners involved and they were unable to get them. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why maybe this ownership group shied away from the deal in the end, because if they were just building a ballpark, maybe just a ballpark in a hotel or a ballpark in some like commercial, bars, restaurants around, it would be far less expensive, right? But to say you're going to build a ballpark, but you also have to have these 3,000 residential units and all this other stuff, then the price starts going way up and it makes the project kind of collapse on its own weight.
I know a lot of A's fans have this proclamation: you can't make an owner sell the team. There's no chance of that, right? Of John Fisher ever being a deal in this team. I guess I'm just putting it out there, hoping it happens.
I think everyone is at this point, especially out in Oakland, in the Bay Area, Sacramento. Here's the thing. I've spoken to 2 different groups that would love to buy the team, and every group I've spoken to says flat out, they're just not for sale. But what you guys saw happen in Sacramento, and shout out, by the way, the Golden One Center is fantastic. I was actually there for the playoffs, and I was practically emotional just being there, looking at how beautiful it is and knowing what you all went through out there. I really sympathize with it. If they could get the team on the market, then yes, maybe someone out here could pounce, but it is just flat out not for sale. If they stumble, if this Vegas thing doesn't work out, maybe it does go on the market. And like what you guys saw out there, that's when, Vivek Ranadive had a chance to pounce because the team hit the market. And so that's really the hope.
Now I got the visual, Chris, of Casey coming here. Casey, please say you didn't come here for the playoffs in a Curry jersey.
Oh, jeez.
You got the fans on your side.
Man, I'm a professional. No way.
Nice. Well, I guess last thought here, and we really appreciate your time.
Yes.
Just gut read. What's your gut reaction? I know this changes every day, but fast forward 4 months, 5 months, what's the future of the A's?
All right, so I have this really interesting gut feeling right now. It's funny that you asked that question. I really still think they're going to get it done in Vegas. I just don't necessarily think it's going to happen at the Tropicana site. That's what my gut says. Sure, the Trop is the easiest, probably the quickest option for the A's. It might be the best available option right now. But I just don't think they're happy with that site, and I could see them eventually pivoting off of it if they could. So that's my gut. I still think they stay there, but I don't know if it's at the Trop.
So a third site.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Maybe even a fourth. I'm telling you.
Maybe. Why not? Yeah. Why stop at 3? Yeah.
Wow. Well, this is a story that never ends. Casey, we really appreciate your time. You're all over this story. We'll have you on again soon. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for starting this evil empire for me, Jason. I appreciate it.
It's all Jason.
I feel proud of that. Thank you, Casey.
No,
yeah, it was all you.
Yeah. Thank you,
See
Casey.
you
All right, that's Casey Pratt, ABC 7 Bay Area. How about that? A potential even other. I mean, but that's what this is falling in line. Like everything, like, hey, it's not necessarily good news, or this gets a hole poked in it and so forth.
No, I think I agree with Casey too, that it does. It makes sense to me if they look at another location, because to me, the Tropicana site it
was too quick.
It just doesn't make sense. It's way too rushed, and the 9 acres of it all, I can't get over the sizing of it, and then Casey mentioned there also, like
not all the profits.
The whole point of the Oakland ballpark was to build the community around it, and to build the housing, and to build the whatever the DOCO equivalent of whatever that would be, and they have no control over any of that, and they don't collect any of the money either. It just, I don't see how it makes sense for all parties involved.
Yeah, personally, I think the Henderson A's are going to do fantastic.
Oh yeah,
outside in Henderson, or what's that, like? Not Red
one
Rock,
other one.
but out there somewhere. That's a casino, but
there's another one. Yeah,
another little outside suburbs. Maybe that's honestly, I mean, that's not a crazy thought. Like,
no, I think that's where they put the G League team in Henderson.
Might be right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 10 minutes from the strip, 15 minutes from the strip. And I know the way I saw, Chris sent us some videos yesterday. Some of the people from the Tropicana site were basically bragging, hey, this is, or you said that, right? Yeah. When it's like, when we land, the first thing you're going to see is this new stadium and baseball, like the first thing off the strip. It's like, that's fine, but are you going there?
Yeah. Well, and
also, you kind of just see the strip in general. When
there's a castle on the strip and nobody goes there.
Right.
That's a good point.
There's a pyramid on the strip that nobody goes to.
I think also, like, with that as well, I believe they said the ballpark's going to face the airport, which doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't you want it facing, like, wouldn't you want the backdrop to be the strip?
See the lights and the show, except for,
the whole stadium just doesn't make sense to me. Again, I keep saying that, like, Vegas is an extravagant, over the top place, and it just doesn't make sense to me to build this ballpark on any sort of budget, on any sort of size constriction. Like, I just, it doesn't feel Vegas to me.
Has
I think if they're going to do it, they got to do it right.
The guys from Fast and Furious, Fast and Furious 9, Flame Space.